And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Common Censored. I'm Lord Sterling, and we together are the Censored Commoners, working as force multipliers to exacerbate and accelerate the Great Awakening in the face of the communist global takeover. Thank you guys for being here. This is episode 207. We've got some interesting stuff to talk about today. A potential second bullet captured on video crossing across the former President Donald J. Trump's torso during the Butler speech. Possible. We'll look into that in some depth. Apologize for starting a little bit late today, but I had to do a Photoshop trajectory analysis, which we will get into shortly involving that. We also have the head of the Oxford Jib Jab program slipping, talking about a potential mass sterilization program live during an interview. Interesting. We'll get into that as well. And we talked about the new footage that came out from behind Trump showing allegedly Thomas Matthew Crooks scampering across the rooftop. Upon closer inspection, people are saying that it shows him actually being whacked, being offed, being sniped. Ed, I see it over there. What's up, Ed? Thanks for being here. Mama Mac says, Sterling, YouTube already put a COVID note on your broadcast before it even started. Well, that's interesting because the subject and the title has nothing to do with COVID, as far as I know. Yeah, the dude's skittering and scampering across the roof, bulldozer. Yeah, so we'll take a look at that. I'm not sure what to believe at this point. It looks like potentially altered footage to me, but it was aired on Fox, and that's where people are have captured the footage from. Anyway, make sure to join us Monday through Friday at 6:30-ish p.m. Eastern Time as we break down and cover all the crazy clown world clusterfuck chaos on Common Censored. Use hashtag Common Censored when you share the show. 1 share equals 1 mission completed for members of the Info Infantry. So send me screenshots of your completed missions as you share the show across the web, and you will be eligible to rank up. Get ranks and promotions in the Info Infantry. Pick your division, pick your branch of the Info Forces, and you can rank up from there. Make sure to follow us on X at Lord Sterling _. I've appealed my ban on _Common Censored again, so we'll see what happens with that. I'm not very confident. Links to all of the content we discuss today will be posted down in the description immediately following the broadcast. So if you're watching this later on and you need to maximize the efficiency of your focus and attention and time, click down there in the description. Look at all the topics we discuss. Mama Mac will be adding timestamps throughout the broadcast as we go, so you can actually jump right to the point in the video where we talk about whatever topic you're interested in. Make sure to check out alplama.com as well. Thanks to Mama Mac for supporting the show and helping out. Alplama.com, your new herbal health guru with all kinds of natural tinctures to remedy any of the potential ailments from which you may be suffering. They also have delicious herbal teas, though the tinctures themselves taste bad, but so good for you. Alplama, yuck. Thanks, Mama Mac. And if you want to support the show directly, feel free to head on over to our link tree. I keep forgetting to add a couple people who have supported the show into the hat, so we'll draw names tomorrow with the newest additions to the contest to pick out winners for copies of our free books. But you can head on over to Linktree to find links to our merch, links to our gag book, and the first edition revived of Thomas Paine's Common Sense. Anybody that donates monthly and subscribes as a member of the show, either on Rumble with that big, beautiful join button or Subscribe Star and Locals, will automatically enter the Info Infantry at the level of a commissioned officer. People who rumble rant or donate via Cash App, Venmo, Google Pay automatically enter as warrant officers, and people who share the show automatically enter as enlisted info warriors in the info infantry. Thanks again for supporting the show. Disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. Boom, bigots. All right. Thanks, Labs, for posting in the DJT Juniors chat. Appreciate that. Thanks for sharing the broadcast, everybody. Let's get into the news. Apparently, we have a sketchy kind of situation going on now in the Middle East as the U.S. has deployed 12 warships, reportedly, out towards the Middle East. Tony Saruga, the guy who allegedly tracked the cell phone of the purported water tower shooter and tracked down the SUV registered to the Department of Agriculture that picked him up allegedly after a brief jaunt through the woods, says who deployed him exactly? Is Joe Biden in charge? Is he deploying warships to the Middle East? Who is doing it? And this was reported by Douglas McGregor at Doug A. McGregor, Colonel McGregor. We have now added context. Readers added context. U.S. did not just deploy 12 ships to the Middle East. Washington Post, whose report this is based on, said that no additional deployments were made. They've already been over there for some time. So, hey, apparently we're getting corrected live on the air as new context has been added. Okay. Maybe they've already been out there. Equally as not cool. Bring the troops home, I say. Bring the troops home. General Crypto, I see over there. What's up, man? Yeah, we just hit 1,000 followers earlier today. So thank you all for following the broadcast. I appreciate you. Let's jump over to our next topic. This one coming out of Switzerland. Elon Musk posting this, saying, same thing is happening in California, as he reposts Billboard Chris, breaking. Swiss parents who had their child taken from them by authorities for refusing to give her puberty blockers have lost their court case. Under threat of criminal charges, they're now forced to hand over documents for her legal sex change. So if you don't agree that with your minor's desire to have radical genital mutilation surgery, the state in Switzerland and in California now will take your kids and force it upon you. This is outrageous. Sorry, I thought this was planned. Here we go.
They've put aside 16 years of absolute commitment to our child and have taken away our child based on the lie that a person can be born in the wrong body.
We want our daughter back home.
The story is truly a nightmare. Swiss authorities have taken our child, our daughter, who's 16 years old. We, as parents, are facing an alliance between the school, the Swiss Child Protection Agency, the Swiss hospital in Geneva, and we feel powerless. About 3 years ago, coming out of the pandemic, our daughter informed us that she was a boy. We understood that she was going through a difficult period in her life. We agreed to seek medical advice. When we first went to the Geneva hospital, the nurse showed her a gender unicorn, and it was based on this gender unicorn that we were instructed by the hospital to begin treating her as a boy. We were told she needed puberty blockers.
Oh, just let the gender unicorn decide for you. This is freaking insane, man. What the f is going on here?
The school got involved. Everyone at the school, the teachers, the administrators, started to call our daughter a male name. We were very clear with the school that we did not believe that it was up to the school. to
No
socially
rights for the
transition our
parents.
daughter.
Children belong to the state, not to the parents. That's what they want. We've
learned
played
that this
compilations before about
psychologist
that.
was getting in and was feeding my daughter with materials, putting her in contact with Le Refuge.
Le Refuge is a transgender advocacy organization and has taken our daughter down the path of believing that she's a boy in a girl's body.
This is insane. It's wrong.
I'm telling you guys, it's wrong.
Eventually, the Swiss
It's wrong!
Child Protection Agency, with the school's support, brought a case against us in the Swiss court system. And
What?
that has meant for us many sleepless nights,
Whoa,
a lot
dude.
of deep pain, and a sense of hopelessness.
A school, a trans activist organization, and a public hospital, together with the child welfare agencies of the Canton of Geneva, have socially transitioned a child against the advice of medical professionals and also against the express will of the parents.
Of course,
is
the
really
parents
happening.
have more than one word to say concerning very important decisions with the potential impacts on the whole life of their child.
No human being is born in the wrong body. Taking an adolescent, telling him or her that he or she is born in the wrong body is cruel.
We want our daughter back home, just that we love her and we miss her. My son, he feels his sister is missing. He has written several letters, but we haven't heard back from her.
So it's really out of this pain and this desperation that we have decided there's really no other option but to speak up. The Swiss government essentially took our daughter away from us. Our daughter now lives in a government home. Our access to her is regulated by the Swiss government.
Bro, this makes me furious. Furious!
We don't want to see other families in this situation. There's no one else beyond parents who will ever bring and cultivate the love that the children need to be the best they can be, to go on and not only fulfill their dreams, but to create their own families in the future.
Oh man, I can't watch any more of this. This is too maddening. They're doing the same thing in California. The state will take your kids. I don't know what's going to happen with this, guys. How do we fix this? How do we fix this? With all the gender madness, let's jump over to another semi-related story. Ian Miles Chong posted this. Italy's Angela Carini, quote, "I've never been hit so hard in my life. It's up for the International Olympic Committee to judge. She was forced to fight a man at the Olympics, was brutally savaged, quit within a minute. She could tell it was unfair." The Gateway pundit also reporting on this. Colin Linebarger writing, quote, "This is unjust. Biological male, quote unquote, boxer viciously beats female opponent, forces her to quit in tears within seconds at the woke Olympics." It looked like she got in there and was just like, whoa, this is not going to go well, and realized immediately she was going to get whooped. This is the future Democrats, led by Kamala Harris, want for all female sports in America. The Paris Olympics erupted in controversy again on Thursday after a, quote, biological man easily, quote, prevailed in an Olympic boxing match after smacking around a much smaller and weaker woman for just under a minute. This follows the Olympic organizers cruelly insulting Christians during the open ceremonies with the Last Supper reenactment involving drag queens. As the Daily Mail reported, the boxing bout between Italian Angela Carini and her Algerian opponent Iman Khalif lasted just 46 seconds, with Carini dropping her helmet onto the floor while quitting and shouting, "This is unjust!" The 25-year-old Carini then rightfully refused to shake hands with Khalif and fell to the floor bawling after just 2 vicious punches to the head from her Algerian tormentor, who had been banned from a significant boxing competition a year before the Olympics. Let's take a look over on X at this post. So hit once. She's like, no. This is not gonna. So just hit once. It's just one hit, and she's like, nope, this isn't gonna. This is not gonna go well. Sin Lu Wu, good to see you. Left Cali to Washington. Now I ask myself why. I could buy a house, but no, none of this climate shit taxes, same as California. Yeah, Washington's fucked as well, it seems. So this has become quite the controversial event over there at the Olympics. People like Bubble Bath Girl Paul Cipula saying, there's no defense for the Olympics, prosecute them now. And other people commenting along similar lines. The IOC has a choice to make, Webmeister says at your Webmeister. Disqualify the trans athletes or become an unserious event. And there's some weird stuff going on here, apparently, with this whole situation. Although I wanted to play this video first real quick to show the bizarre parallels to the old South Park episode that kind of predicted this was going to happen. The strong man, you guys remember this? There's strong female. So strong woman, basically the South Park satire going from fiction to reality, although this is a bizarre situation. If you go over to what's it called? Brave Search. Let me find this thing. Let me see. Search.brave.com. Was Iman Khalif born a man? Based on the provided information, Iman Khalif was born with a rare condition called Swyer syndrome, which is a type of sexual development disorder. This condition results in individuals having X and Y chromosomes, which is indicative of a male, but possessing female reproductive structures. Despite being born with XY chromosomes, Khalif was always identified as a female born with a vagina. So this is an interesting conundrum in this case. So what do you guys think? If you're born with a vagina, are you a woman? Or if you're born with XY chromosomes and a vagina, are you a male with a mutation? I don't know what to think about this anymore. I'm not exactly sure. She was born with a vagina. And so it's a weird situation for sure. But I do like this video showing the satire becoming a reality. I want to know what you guys think. XY means male, rare as fuck. Bill says, Mama Mac, don't care. Look at the body. It's a man's body. Only XX should be able to fight or go against XX. Yeah, I could agree with that. If you're anything other than pure XX, should be restricted from competing against XX. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Zep, Winter Games for the win. Goose McGroin, Aphrodite, Herm Aphrodite. Ed, you're gross, man. Ed just wants to see the parts. Yeah, XY is a normal male. This is an XY with gametes with altered gametes, like a mutation in the gametes that resulted in both XY chromosomes and female genitals and reproductive organs on the inside as well. So it's a highly unusual intersex type of individual. And it's interesting. I would be in favor of restricting XX to fight against XX, especially when we have this XY with the female genitalia, who happens to be way stronger and more brutal than the other women, indicating though they have female sexual organs, they may be leaning more in the male physicality direction overall in terms of just strength and size and whatnot. It's an interesting thing for sure, though. Let's jump over to our next topic. Alex Jones posts total inside job. The shooter ran around on the roof for 26 minutes, reposting Benny Johnson. We played this footage yesterday, but there's stuff in this footage that we did not analyze yesterday that we're going to have to take a look at. New Trump assassination video destroys Secret Service narrative. Shooter Thomas Crooks can be seen clearly lurking on the rooftop minutes before the shooting. Secret Service has held that snipers could not see him over the roof line. Bullshit. If we can see him from stage level back here, popping up over the roof line, then yeah, they could definitely see him from up on the roofs behind Mr. former President FPOTUS, Donald J. Trump. But this is where it gets really interesting. Right around here, we see him scampering across the rooftop. Yada, yada, yada. He disappears. He reappears over here by this power cable or something that's dangling down. He steps over above this vent pipe, and then within one frame, see, here he goes. He crosses over the line. You see him, and then within one frame, boop, just disappears. His whole head seems to, boop, dump back. So maybe it is a couple frames. Actually, looking at this version of the video, this may be him being capped at this point. Vicky Lowe says mandate a hormone test. It's that simple. Yep. I agree with that 100%. I think she failed or he or she, she failed a testosterone test recently. So I'm not exactly sure if that means that it had too much testosterone or not enough, but this is weird. It looks like this person may have been lit up on the roof here, tumbles backwards. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. People are saying that this shows him being killed. Natron 248, salute, brother. Boom. Good to see you. So John Cullen, a particularly divisive figure at this particular moment in time, has posted, and this is at I_am_John Cullen. He's the Maps daddy. Apparently, James Copenhaver filmed the rooftop shooter getting killed. Nice. And apparently, this guy, Copenhaver, was hit twice himself. The weird part, Trump is still speaking. So who shot Trump's ear? He claims there was a shooter inside American Glass, one in uniform who he has narrowed down and claims to have identified, at least visually, although I don't believe he's determined a name yet. I don't know what to think about this guy and about his analysis. There's some red flags. There's some not so red flags. This is weird. Let's check out this video and see his analysis on this particular footage of the rooftop. And let me know what you guys think in the chat.
What you know about rolling down?
See a shadowy figure that appears to be moving on the roof across from the stage where former President Donald Trump was speaking back on July 13th. We know from the FBI, would-be assassin Thomas Matthew Crooks traversed on roofs that were about 150 yards away from the rally stage. So perhaps this is Crooks who was captured in this video. In the meantime, though, we know there were communication failures. Would-be assassin Thomas Matthew Crooks. Would-be assassin Thomas
and then, boop.
Matthew Crooks.
That one, this version, it looks like a glitch. Boop. It looks like he just glitches out. And it's almost like the outline of his body is still there. It seems potentially like this was digitally altered, potentially. I'm not 100% sure, but for a brief instant, it seems like the colors are different between the various pixels at this moment. It's really hard to tell, but if he got hit, he drops real fast. Look at that. One frame difference between totally upright and then completely leveled out. it's the weirdest thing. What do you guys think about this? Is this him getting hit, or is this him ducking, or is this like a a glitch of some sort?
Matthew Crooks.
What you know about rolling down in the deep when you break
Sleep Threeper says nope, he took a sleeping pill. Ed says he got got. It just happens so fast, man. I would think that, you know, like my armchair physicist analysis would be bullet goes through and it takes a second for the torso to fall. So the whole thing, it seems more like, you know, with such a small point of impact, it would shatter the skull, leave an exit wound, and it wouldn't be until like moments later that the body would fall. It's just happened so fast. It's hard for me to believe that this is him getting hit. And then what's going on to the right after the fact? Seems like there's movement to the right of the cable that's dangling down.
We know from the FBI,
it appears, crosses over, whack, and then there's still some kind of motion.
150 yards away from the rally stage, so perhaps this is Crooks who was captured in this video.
It looked like he stood up for a moment there. So Cullen is alleging that this guy was killed minutes before Trump even got to the point where he got hit in the ear. It's weird. Joseph B. Kona says, as someone who is certain the state was involved in allowing or perpetrating the plot, I resent your fraudulent reporting. You are not a map or footage expert. If the shot was fired by Cooks, why isn't Trump ducking? You're a clickbait fraud. Well, this is minutes before whatever hit Trump. I mean, obviously the bullet that hit him. Cullen says, quote, you are not a maps or footage expert. He says he led the team at Oracle that built the system with the ESRI. He was one of 10 pioneers of GIS. I don't know what that means, guys. But it does seem like he is a maps expert.
We've always relied on those who see things differently.
He's the maps daddy.
They show us that the possible can be a matter of how you see it.
So apparently he was involved with building some kind of crazy map system. John Cullum, I am the maps daddy. So apparently he is the maps daddy, although this person claims he's not a maps expert. There's also some other interesting stuff with this Marine Corps Special Operations Target Interdiction Force and Urban Sniper instructor saying that audio analysis shows suppressed shots happening before Trump was hit. So it's possible that dude on the roof was taken out by one of these suppressed shots. Let's listen to this and see what you guys think of this.
Back to the Army, I was a sniper and assaulter in an elite counterterrorism unit, as well as I taught level 1 and level 2 SOTICs, which is the Special Operations Target Interdiction Force.
Dicks. Let me rewind that so you guys can hear it. Sorry about that. The volume is low.
Back to the Army, I was a sniper and assaulter in an elite counterterrorism unit, as well as I taught level 1 and level 2 SOTICs, which is the Special Operations Target Interdiction Force.
What you know about rolling down?
Oh shit.
This music is so annoying.
So I was a scout sniper in the Marine Corps. I graduated from both the Marine Scout Sniper School, Urban Sniper School, and did special operations for them. Back to the Army, I was a sniper and assaulter in an elite counterterrorism unit, as well as I taught level 1 and level 2 SOTICs, which is the Special Operations Target Interdiction Force, Sniper School.
So you are a sniper instructor.
Yes. Yes.
So first you become a sniper, then you teach new snipers how to be that. Okay, correct. Fantastic.
And I also rather uniquely taught the Marine Corps' Urban Sniper course as well as a contractor. So I've taught in both services as well.
So there's probably not 10 people on the planet as qualified as you to talk about what we're about to talk about, which is about ballistic trajectories, crack thump calculations, muzzle velocity, calibers, and that's what we're going to get into right now.
So this is John Cullen, the guy doing the analysis prior of the footage where crooks may have been shot and killed on the roof.
Oh, shit.
Watch the little chart in the right, and you'll see. It's not my imagination. Watch.
Oh, shit. I know that sound like I know the voice of my own children. That's a suppressed gunshot. And more than likely something like a 300 blackout.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call a man a freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an
So was there suppressed fire taking out crooks minutes before Trump was hit? Was he left on the roof dead to just be a patsy after the real shooters fired and then exfiltrated? Your guess is as good as mine. I saw this post over on patriots.win. John Cullen solved it. 5-man op, 2 in trees, 1 on water tower, 1 in window, 1 on roof. AR-15 plus 300 Win Mag ammo. Mike Benz over here posting a video saying, we need the name of the specific agent who gave the stand-down order to be on the roof, not the DHS secretary that day, not the head of the Secret Service that day. Who gave the stand-down order? Whose communications did that agent have beforehand? To which John Cullen responds, and if this is, this people are in the comments saying, oh, this guy's fake news. Stop posting this bullshit. I'll put a shitpost flare on this post so nobody takes it seriously. Just a fan of connecting dots. So I don't know if this guy's real or what, but this is some defamatory accusations if this isn't accurate here. John Cullen responded saying, at Mike Ben Cyber, no, dipshit. You need this guy's name. He's the shooter. So John Cullen claims that this is the guy who, I know, Zep, that music is so freaking annoying. Sorry about that. So Cullen is claiming this was the guy who fired from inside the building. No sources for this guy. Yeah, exactly. It's weird. Very weird. But he had mentioned in his previous post that there was a shooter in uniform right here. And we saw the video that came out the other day with a horse going across and then the muzzle flash in the window, allegedly. Shooter inside American Glass, 1 in uniform. So this is the guy who John Cullen seems to have identified as the shooter in uniform from inside the building. Weird stuff. What's even more weird is the next John Cullen story that he's posting about, saying, we found another shooter. This is at I_am_John Cullen. We found another shooter on Trump's other side on his right. 3D kill box confirmed. And he's tagging this other dude, Crowdsourced Truth, who seems like kind of like an idiot to me. But look at this. There's going to be more music in here. We actually don't need to hear it, so I'll just let it play without audio. Here's the footage of Trump talking, and then whoop, right across his torso. Right there. Something goes, whoo, flying past. Did you see it? Gunfire began before anyone realized this may be another suppressed shot. And he slow-mo's it in a sec. Look at this. Something flies right across. And so this has immediately become very controversial. It seems to show an upward trajectory. People are debating whether or not it's a bullet or a bug, questioning whether or not a camera shooting at this speed could even catch a bullet at that rate. But we have what appears to be a bullet right there, captured again right there, disappears, captured right over there, and then a fourth frame. I don't know if this is physically possible. I'm going to need to take this larger distance, the zoomed out footage, and reanalyze it. But I did a little bit of an analysis. Let me screen share my Photoshop for you guys so we can look at this together and let me know what you think. Give me a sec to jump over here to Photoshop. All right. All right. You guys can see this now, right? I'm going to zoom, make it full screen over here. And actually, I'm going to hide the chat for a moment because it's kind of blocking a necessary area. But take a look at this. What I did was I took all 4 of those frames that had the alleged bullet visible, and I stacked them on top of each other with a partial opacity for the latter 3 shots. What I did is align the trees in the background to steady the footage to make sure that they're all perfectly, so you can see when I toggle the second frame on and off, the trees are perfectly lined up to create a steady shot. Again, trees are perfectly lined up. And then again, for the 4th one, trees perfectly lined up. And then I added dots, red dots for each of the appearances of the alleged bullet. And then drew trajectory lines so that connecting the first to the last shot shows that this is a curved trajectory, whereas John Cullen claimed that it was a straight trajectory. Connecting the first and second frames, you see that the straight trajectory would go up here, but it's starting to curve. Connecting the second and third shows another change in trajectory. Connecting the third and the fourth shows it almost leveling out. Pretty substantial difference between the trajectory of the first and second frames. I don't know if this can be accounted for by a subsonic round that's moving slower than the speed of sound, but even if that's the case, this is a very short distance to see such a dramatic trajectory change, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Is this a bullet? Is this a bug? I'm not entirely sure. I'm definitely not an expert, but it seems to be moving very slowly and to be curving, which could be some kind of subsonic round, or it could be a bug flying across the screen that's curving. Let me know what you guys think in the chat about that. 556 would likely be moving a lot faster, Ed. Yeah, if it is a bullet, let me remove my stuff over here. It looks like it's shaped like a bullet, but hey, a fly is also shaped like a bullet when it's moving through the air, being captured as a blur. See, I added the subsequent layers in partial opacity just to make sure that the background is lined up for all of them to create a steady shot. But when you connect the dots, it's not a straight trajectory, so John Cullen was wrong about that. Let's jump back over to his post on X. And we can see some of the comments calling this into question. How can we be for sure that that's a bullet? Is it possible some sort of insect? He says it's moving in a perfect line. We just disproved that. It's not moving in a perfect line, John Cullen. We steadied the shot. We connected the dots. It's not a perfect line. Debunked. 1/8,000th of a second at 900 feet per second yields a traveled distance of 1.3 inches. This would be if they're shooting at a frame rate of 8,000 shots per second, which would be really fast. 1/4,000th of a second at 900 frames per second yields a travel distance of 2.7 inches. How far do we see it travel in 4 to 5 frames? 18 inches. Then it's moving at 900 feet per second, he says, but we don't know how many frames per second this was being shot at. And if we can see it in multiple frames in a regular speed of like 30 frames per second that we're getting on X here. Whoop, flies past multiple frames playing at 30 frames per second. That indicates to me that this is not an 8,000 frames per second video, Mr. Cullen. So 1/8,000th of a second, that would indicate 8,000, like a slow motion camera. That doesn't seem to be what we're seeing. It's about 1/30th of a second per frame. 900 frames per second. Where is he getting this? Where's he getting this? I don't know. So he says 900 frames per second. That's we played this excerpt. Maximum shutter speed on an iPhone 15 Pro is 1/8000. So that's the shutter speed we're talking about. And he's assuming 900 frames per second. I don't know. Or is he talking about frames per second or feet per second? I don't know. Because you could look, if you're talking about the camera, it'd be frames per second. If you're talking about the bullet, it would be feet per second. So this is all kind of muddy. Crowdsource the truth. This guy who I don't trust says maximum shutter speed 1/8000. Unless you're using a professional camera app, the speed is determined by the camera automatically based on exposure settings. Do we know who shot this original video? Let's see if Cullen responded. Difference between shutter speed and frame rate, very relevant here. This was video, meaning 30 frames per second. Right, this is what I'm thinking. This looks like a regular old video, not like they've taken a high-speed video and specifically selected frames that show the bullet. So to me, this seems like a regular 30 frames per second video and probably an insect or something that is not a bullet, because a bullet at 30 frames per second would not be captured 4 times within a second across such a small distance, in my opinion. Very strange. Interesting, except the music is horrible. That's right, Zep. If the object is close to the camera, it didn't travel very far. It could be a bug. Has anyone figured out where this bullet would have been fired from? Never end a sentence in a preposition. But it's okay. You're not a federal agent, so we'll let it slide this time. Whoever the mark is. You're a federal agent. You represent the American government. Never end a sentence with a preposition. YouTube explicitly states he's not news and that he's satire. Twitter account makes no such disclaimer. Which is it? This is so weird. This is not a straight line. Absurd lie. I don't know what the fuck is going on here, guys. Let me know what you think. 12 mile per hour crosswind. Where are you coming up with that? Health Ranger says that's not a bullet, moving way too slow. Do the math on the frames and figure 2,500 feet per second for a typical 5.56 round. There's no hypersonic sound crack generated from it either. That could indicate that it's a lower, a higher caliber subsonic round. 300 blackout is what that other dude, the sniper guy, was saying as well. I don't know. It's weird, man. It's weird. Let's see what we got next. We also have John Cullen, this guy, making a claim about other footage, saying, I'll bet anyone that crowdsource the truth, this guy who I think is an idiot, is able to discern the audio in this video was time shifted. This next video, he's claiming that the audio doesn't line up and that it's like some manipulation to fake the timeline of audio. By moving the audio track to this point in time, the illusion we see here is that everything happened at this moment. It obviously did not. This is forged evidence. Be wary. Video filmed near the roof where Crooks was shooting shows him turn away from the rally after that shot, then reposition himself, possibly to take aim again. 10 seconds pass, then this counter sniper shoots. This guy, people were saying, the dude who saw there with the MAGA hat, this guy's footage is going to be interesting if it releases. He's very steady. He's pointing in the right direction, it seems. So he's claiming the audio is altered in this and shifted. He still seems to be alive at this point, if it's the same person. If this is him and he's alive, that means he did not get killed in that other footage, which shot from behind Trump. This is all such a confusing mess. No idea. Let me know what you guys think. Let's move on. Jumping over to Benny Johnson. This is brutal, man. This one's real brutal. Reporter to Biden. President Trump has said repeatedly that he could have gotten the hostage out without giving anything in exchange. What do you say to that, Biden? Why didn't he do it when he was president? Because none of this was happening when he was president, bro. This is more evidence that Biden is just completely mentally gone.
President Trump has said repeatedly that he could have gotten the hostages out without giving anything in exchange. What do you say to that? What do you say to President Trump now? Former president.
Why didn't he do it when he was president?
Sir, what a chance. Thank you guys.
Because it just happened on the last October 7th. Goose McGroin, there's always a screaming woman. Yeah, that seems to be pretty true. Let me bring this up. Boom. All right, boom, fix that. Back to this view. So Biden just completely gone. Why didn't he do that when he was president? Because this wasn't happening when he was president, Mr. President. Brutal. And now all of a sudden, we've talked before about the pipe bomb incident on J6. Well, now all of a sudden, new DHS watchdog report
new video
details how close Kamala heels up coup Kamala Harris came to viable pipe bomb on J6. It probably wasn't viable because it looks just like one of those FBI training devices, as we saw from Jack Posobiec, who posted images of other training devices that perfectly matched it. Let's see what's going on with this video.
The FBI now releasing new video this evening of the suspect who they say placed pipe bombs at the RNC and at the DNC the night before the January 6th riot. Tonight, newly disclosed surveillance showing the suspect, they say, sitting on a bench outside the DNC headquarters. Authorities also revealing something else, key details about the suspect's route and timing. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas now.
Tonight, the FBI releasing new video in their urgent effort to find that dangerous would-be bomber who allegedly planted multiple explosive devices the night before the January 6th insurrection. Video from a newly disclosed camera angle showing the still unidentified suspect outside the DNC headquarters in Washington, D.C., calmly sitting on a bench before planting the first of what authorities say were 2 pipe bombs that could have been lethal. The FBI animation showing the suspect walking around the block, then circling back, and then mysteriously disappearing, only to reemerge 8 minutes later, roughly a quarter-mile away, near the RNC headquarters, where another pipe bomb would be placed in an alley.
Essentially, they are trying to come up with some new way of encouraging people to provide leads because it does not appear that they have a great many leads to go on.
The FBI conducting more than 800 interviews and reviewing more than 23,000 pieces of video to find a suspect who was meticulous in concealing his or her identity. Despite making more than 600 arrests after the January 6th insurrection, the FBI still unable to identify that suspect.
How can they call it an insurrection when nobody's been charged with insurrection? These people are straight up criminal propagandists.
Seen walking with an unusual gait, wearing a face mask, glasses, gloves, and a hooded sweatshirt.
Pierre Thomas staying on this from the start. Back with us tonight, Pierre. I know there is some urgency with authorities trying to find this person with this new rally set to take place in Washington, D.C. in the coming days in support of the January 6th defendants.
David, that rally in just 10 days is being led by people calling those arrested in January political prisoners. Law enforcement would feel a whole lot better if they could catch this dangerous would-be bomber before then. David?
Pierre Thomas tonight. Pierre, thank you.
It seems to me this guy was potentially FBI, whoever this bomber was, according to Clay Higgins, who tracked down the vehicle that the dude got in after getting on DC Metro when he exfiltrated the scene. But we've been asking for a while, if this was such a dangerous event and such a dangerous pipe bomb and not a training device, how come Kamala Harris wasn't weaponizing this story to her advantage, saying, they tried to kill me? She was right there at this DNC building where this bomb was alleged bomb was discovered. How come she hasn't been harping on this constantly to politically weaponize it against MAGA and to create sympathy for herself? Well, now, all of a sudden, they're saying the report, a copy of which was obtained by ABC, offers an official and detailed account about how Kamala Harris, the incoming vice president, ended up within feet of a, quote, viable pipe bomb that had been planted in the bushes right outside the Democrat National Committee's headquarters. So it's like, why are they only talking about it now? Are they talking about it now because the Trump attempted assassination occurred, and so they can be like, oh, well, they're trying to kill our people too? Were they waiting for a politically expedient moment to start harping on this? It just seems strange to me. Exactly, Flustercluck, Kumala. Seems strange to me that this was ammo that they could have used, metaphorical ammo, FBI's ASO, that they could have been using this whole time to demonize us and to prop Kamala up as a victim. A victim! But now they've waited until this particular moment to bring it up and to start harping on it. Yeah, exactly, Thripper. Like Hillary being in the face of sniper fire as her helicopter landed overseas. Yeah, that's right, Natron. She was too busy smoking weed and listening to Biggie and Tupac. Mama Mac, for real. Kamala's recent speech in airport hangar said nothing and came across as a threat to America, in my opinion, especially the end. Can you guys imagine the evil they do in that building? Ed says, yeah. Who knows what kind of crazy shit goes on inside the DNC headquarters. So now they're saying, oh, Kamala was in danger. They're harping on it now that it's politically expedient to counterbalance the Trump attempted assassination. It seems highly bizarre that they waited all this time to talk about it. It's really weird, guys. Really weird. How about this next story? We're going to hop down to, where is this? Let's find out. Gateway Pundit reporting. Ooh, they got Gateway Hispanic American Gulag. Interesting. Boom! Republican Secretary of State removes hundreds of non-U.S. citizens from voter rolls. Ordered almost 155,000 unqualified voters to be removed over the past 4 years. Patty McMurray writing this article. Democrats aren't even hiding it anymore. More and more Americans have been harmed by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's reckless policies that have drained their bank accounts as they drown in debt caused by inflation. Elected Democrat officials in Washington and across our great nation have made it impossible for first-time homeowners to achieve the American dream because of staggering debt and high interest rates. Didn't we see what is it, like $1.2 million for starter homes recently? Dems have put their stamp of approval on pornography and drag queens in their children's libraries, or men who identify as women in their daughters' locker rooms. They're advocating for transitioning their children behind their backs and teaching children that being white is somehow a crime. Democrats desperately need the votes of illegal aliens if they plan to win future elections. And with tens of millions of illegal aliens living in America, many of whom have been registered to vote, Democrats may be able to win back the White House and majorities in the House and Senate. Only brave leadership at the state level will make the difference between American citizens determining the outcome of our election and illegal aliens from over 160 countries around the world determining the outcome. Thank goodness for this election integrity hero. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose. This morning, Republican Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose announced that as part of his comprehensive plan to remove all non-U.S. citizens from Ohio voter rolls, he has directed the county boards of elections to remove an additional 499 non-citizens who have been registered to vote in Ohio. Last week, at the direction of Secretary LaRose, the boards of elections removed nearly 155,000 registrations confirmed to be abandoned and inactive for at least 4 consecutive years. Secretary of State LaRose's actions represent his commitment to voters to provide an accurate list that contains only qualified and active voters. LaRose's actions are in sharp contrast to those of Michigan Democrat Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, the criminal, in my opinion, who has fought and continues to fight lawsuits, including a current lawsuit filed against her by the RNC that would force the dirty SOS to remove unqualified, dead, and illegitimate voters from the voter rolls in advance of the 2024 election. How about a constitutional amendment to make make the states clear out and clean out their voter rolls every election cycle? Seems like a logical thing to me. A constitutional amendment. What do you guys think about that? It might be difficult to get the support, but I think it's probably a good idea. According to a press release from Frank LaRose's office, the latest action is part of a multi-phased, comprehensive audit of the statewide voter registration database ahead of the November general election. Quote, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of our state And that document clearly states that only United States citizens can participate in Ohio elections, said Secretary LaRose. Continuing, that means I'm duty-bound to make sure people who haven't yet earned citizenship in this country aren't voting. If or when they do become citizens, I'll be the first one to congratulate them and welcome them into the franchise. But until then, the law requires us to remove ineligible registrations to prevent illegal voting. Bada bing, bada boom. So not everybody is completely insane in state governments. This is pretty good. Let's hop down to Georgia for our next election-related story. This one is also particularly interesting. I'm not sure if this is actually new information or if this is from footage from the various presentations given in front of the state board of elections back in 2021. But General Michael Flynn posted this. Now what? Governor Kemp reposting Josh Dunlap, who says, alert, alert, Georgia's election board now admits to violations of election law in 2020. Let's see if there's been any community notes added. Not yet, because Elon 20 hours ago said, is this accurate at community notes? Wow, no community notes after 20 hours of Elon asking. He freaking owns the company. You guys aren't even listening to him over there? Come on. Come on. So he says it's over for election fraud deniers. John Dunlap, 5,000 felons voted illegally. 66,248 underage voters. $2,423 not listed as registered. 1,043 illegally registered using P.O. Box. I think these dollar signs are accidental over here. 4,926 registered to vote after registration ran out. 10,315 voted that were deceased. 400 cash balance in another state. 15,000 faulty addresses. 40,279 failed to properly re-register to vote, but voted anyway. Let's check out this clip and see what's going on here.
Felons voted illegally in Georgia. Felons voted illegally in Georgia. 66,248 underage and therefore ineligible people to illegally register to vote before their 17th birthday, when the law requires 17 and a half years old. At least 2,423 individuals to vote who were not listed as registered. 1,004.
You are not granted leave to die, Airman. You report to me at this point. You are not given permission to do that, sir. Thanks for being here, The Reaper. We love you.
43 individuals.
Commander of the Common Censored Info Air Force.
1,043 individuals to cast ballots who had illegally registered to vote using a post office box. 4,926 individuals voted in Georgia who had registered to vote after their Georgia voter registration date, thereby canceling their Georgia voter registration.
Wiley, what's up, Jude?
10,315 or more individuals to vote who are deceased by the time of the election. 395 individuals to vote in Georgia who had cast ballots in another state, which is illegal in both states. 15,700 individuals to vote in Georgia who had filed a national change of address with the United States Postal Service prior to November 3rd, 2020. 40,279 individuals to vote who had moved across county lines at least 30 days prior to Election Day and who had failed to properly re-register to vote in their new county after moving, also in violation of Georgia law.
So, a little bit of sketchy stuff there, but there's no evidence of voter fraud, guys. We could just spend hours watching these presentations given by people who have sworn affidavits under penalty of perjury in Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, I think, as well, presenting all kinds of testimonies and evidence during the year 2021. And possibly 2020 as well, of all of just massive amounts of fraud at all these various locations. We could spend literal days just watching those hearings. They exist. They're out there on YouTube. 4-hour hearing, 8-hour hearing, big long streams from all these states. Yet the mainstream media covered none of it. None of the hearings that were publicly held and streamed live on like RSBN and other places. They just stuck with their, oh, there's no evidence. There's no evidence of fraud narrative. Complete garbage, man. Constitutional amendment, arrest the mainstream media. Oh man, it's so frustrating. We have another interesting story coming out of Georgia as well. Alex Jones posting this earlier. At Real Alex Jones, breaking. Illegals confess to plan to steal election from Donald Trump in Georgia. Let's check out what's going on over here. This sounds a little bit sketchy.
A company that is dedicated to registering Hispanic people so they can vote in upcoming elections. Are you already registered? We already voted. You already voted? Yes. Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered or?
Yeah.
Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered
right, Wiley.
at work? Yes, we have. You've already been registered?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Oh, they've lost 60 cases in court. Actually, no. No evidence was presented in any of the cases, and they were all dismissed due to standing, due to no standing. The legal doctrine that only developed earlier in the 20th century, we went like 150 years without any concept of standing, and then it just became a tool that judges could use so they wouldn't have to put their necks on the line and make politically charged decisions in cases, a way that they can bow out and not have to deal with it and allow criminality to happen. Completely maddening, the whole standing thing. I've played clips with Robert Barnes talking about that before and obliterating the concept of standing as a whole. It shouldn't even be something that legally stands, the concept of standing.
Are you a citizen or not a citizen?
The margin of error in Georgia was less than 12,000 votes in the 2020 election, okay? We just exposed 14% of the people, and that is in line with the Rasmussen report of about 14%, I believe you said, registered illegal aliens, right? So now you extrapolate that out. The estimates are in Georgia around 339,000 illegal aliens, non-citizens in Georgia. So now extrapolate this out. 14% of that number is around 47,000. That's 4 times the margin of error that Joe Biden took the election in Georgia in 2020. This election, it could come down to the wire based on all the fraud, and especially if we don't get enough voters coming out on our side. So we need to mobilize everybody.
Shout out to Crazy B. Follow Crazy B at Crazy B 8383. That's CrazyBee 8383 on X. We love you, Crazy B. Thanks for all your help.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, InfoWars tells you the truth about what's happening next. Visit Infowars.com/show and share the link today.
All right, we're getting incredible investigative reporter Anthony Muckraker Rubin connected right now. He released a viral video yesterday in Atlanta, Georgia, a key battleground state, where 14% of the illegal aliens that they talked to and canvassed in a big apartment building said, oh yeah, we're voting. Yeah, we got registered to vote.
A centrally coordinated operation to register illegals to vote is what it seems to be here. Let me post a link to Rumble on YouTube. It's time to terminate the YouTube feed and go Rumble and X exclusive. So if you're watching on YouTube, which probably nobody, maybe a couple people are, I can't tell for some reason. Let's see. Oh yeah, 2 people watching on YouTube. All right, we got to ditch you guys. Sorry about that, but we'll be back tomorrow for Friday's episode, and we will catch you guys on the flip side. We're trying to drag people off of big tech over onto alt tech. So copy and paste that link into a new tab, or open up your Rumble app and come join us where the water is warm and we can speak freely, where we all float down here on Rumble and alt tech, off the beaten path, down in the sewers of tech. I should stop referencing It by Stephen King. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. All right, guys. Sorry to ditch YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, let's get ready to